Hey guys, I'm just doing an update on my Cub Cadet 127 project. I got this tractor in January, as you know, and this was my second Cub Cadet. Once I got it, I pretty much parked it until recently, as I've had other projects on my XT1 and my 147. So I've been able to finally devote some attention to this tractor, which has been much needed. During my first assessment, I noticed that the wiring in this tractor was all garbage. When I had it in the shed, I got a look in there and ended up pulling out rat's nests inside the steering column. And all the wiring was chewed up and bare in spots, and other places the wiring just had corroded or pretty much disintegrated. So I made the decision that I wanted to get this tractor in service as quickly as possible. So I pulled it into the shop with the 147 and started rewiring. I got a completely new wiring harness from Hamilton Bob's out in Ohio, which made the project even easier. I also bought a parts tractor. It was a Model 127 that the guy had used for just the engine. So I bought it for tires and also different things in case I ever need them. The tractor was in good shape, and the tires I had on my tractor were pretty crappy, so I have a complete rolling chassis if I ever need it, just minus the motor and the front grille. But I thought it was a sound investment for not a lot of money, about the cost of one tire. I got a complete parts source, which I ended up pulling a few parts off of. So like I said, I wanted to redo the entire electrical system, so I started by ripping out all the old wiring, souped the nuts, all the old switches. The original ignition switches I took out, used in the 147. All the original wiring came out. I threw away the voltage regulator, which was nothing but rust. The headlights were all disconnected. You can see some of the old wiring laying on the ground there. But I figure electrical problems are usually gremlins that come up at the worst times. So it was better to start anew with fresh wiring and a fresh battery and fresh switches. Well, at least the ignition switch is new. Here's a little view of the wiring harness being installed. It went together fairly smooth. The diagram was a little confusing at one point, but I figured out what the issue was, and it was an extra leg on my voltage regulator. But it was nice having all the wire pre-cut and to the right length. I also got under there and I took a look at the drive shaft, and I noticed the part that mounts to the engine, it looks like the previous owner welded that pin in. So really not sure what to do with it. I've heard cut it out, put a whole new drive shaft in. I've also heard people say just leave it as is, and if it breaks, it breaks. You know, that's how they used to fix it on the farm, so to speak. So for right now, it seems to work, and if it becomes an issue and breaks, then we'll just replace it. But for now, it can stay there, and I'll just keep an eye on it. But I just thought that was kind of a surprise. This video was the first time the tractor started up under its own power. did a quick run up of the tractor and then shut it down. I was only going real slow to bring it outside to start swapping out the tires from the parts tractor. The tires that came with this one, like I said, are completely dry rotted, and as you put air in them, you just heard the air come out. So I swapped out the rear tires, which were actually a little bit wider, so I kind of like the look of that better. And once the new tires were on, I used the tractor to tow the parts tractor out back, and also got to use the headlights for the first time as I was towing it out back, which I think the headlights give a nice look to these tractors. Those old-fashioned halogen bulbs. Haven't run at night yet, so I don't know how bright they actually are, but they do look bright, and I think they complete the look of the tractor. So all in all, I've had to replace more parts than I originally anticipated. If it wasn't for iSaveTractors.com, this project wouldn't have happened. I had to replace the points, condenser, the whole wiring system, new carburetor, new air filter, new gaskets, a lot of new things, the new ignition switch, the new wiring harness. It's going to need a new seat. It needed new tires, but I really can't complain since this tractor essentially was free, and the other Cub Cadet I have out back, the 147, was also free. So as far as a restoration project, I certainly haven't sunk much into it, but I have wanted to make sure that it was done properly, and it may not be the prettiest with the fancy paint jobs, but mechanically it's got good wiring now. It's got good mechanics, new oil, proper lubrication. I'm going to do a hydro fluid change pretty soon. It's got a clean fuel tank, new fuel system, and you can see the tank I put back on. It's got a fuel sediment bowl and a fuel filter. It's also got the new wiring you see to the motor generator. It's new voltage regulator up there. I tidied up the wiring so it looks nice. So let's take a walk around of the tractor running and then take a ride down the street. And of course you'll see at one point my dog Penny was very jealous and wanted to be outside with her daddy. So enjoy the video, and thanks for watching.